This is a Blender Python tutorial where we'll be going over how you can trim videos with Blender's video sequence editor and stitch them together with a fade-in transition. Hey, I'm Victor Stepanoff. I'll be guiding you through this Blender Python tutorial. And today I would like to share with you how I make my intro videos. So in the beginning of the video, I usually put kind of a summary of what to expect from a video. And I would usually just take my recordings that I would do, cut them into like 4-second clips, and then stitch them together with like some transition. I used to do this by hand in my video editor, but I thought, can I really try to do this with Blender, with the Blender sequence editor? And it turns out I can, and this is what I would like to share with you today. So I would usually start with like a folder of my recordings. So here's a folder. If you want to follow along, you could just have a folder ready with some clips or some videos that you want to trim a bit and then stitch together. And this is what we're going to get at the end of this video, where we're going to have some clips, right? And there's going to be like a transition between each one of these clips. And this will happen with Python script. So make sure to stick around to see how this all will work. All right. So to start off, we will need to set up our workspace. And to do that, we're going to be working in the video editor. So if you go into File, New, and then select Video Editor, next we will need to add the text editor. That's where we're going to be editing our script. Make sure to hit New here. We're going to get that to adding some helper code in just a minute. I'm going to drag this right here to add our interactive Python console. And I'm also going to drag from here and add an info panel. We'll be using that a bit as well. All right, I'm just going to hide this. And this should make our life easier for working with the video sequence editor and a Python script. All right, to quickly start iterating on our script, I provided some helper code. You can find a link in the description for this video under Start Code. Open that link in your favorite browser, hit Raw, copy that code, and then head back into Blender and just paste that in by hitting Control V. And here we have some code that's going to help us quickly start. We can run this code, just hit Run. And it doesn't really do anything, but we'll get to all the parts that it does. Like let's quickly just go over the code right here. I'm just going to pull this down. So main is the main function that our script starts with. You can see how at the bottom we're calling it right here. And I'm gonna be using this folder right here. This is where I put my videos. You should update this path to where your videos are located. I'm on Windows right now, and this is my path on Windows. Don't forget this R right here for Windows paths if you want to use these single slashes. If you don't use it, you need to do double slashes. If you are working on Linux and Mac and want to follow along, you can uncomment this code right here. And I presume that you probably would have a folder in your home folder for your user, and there will be like a temp folder and then like a videos folder. So right here, I'm getting the path for the current logged in user. So uncomment that if you want to follow along on Mac and Linux. And next, I have a function that sets up some parameters, and we can just check that out right now. And here I'm just saying that how we want to output the resulting video. I want it to be a MPEG-4, the file format FFmpeg. I'll get the date, the current date, get the string that represents the current time, right? And just set the output file path. Next, we have a list of files that I care about that I want to stitch together, trim and stitch together. So these are just the names. And this will be later in the tutorial. I'll show you how. So the main idea is I usually take the middle of a clip, so where there's some action going on, right? Something's happening on screen, right? It's not the beginning or the end of a recording. So if the middle of the video is not interesting, right? There's like a pause or something not going right. I have added some functionality that actually allows us to move forward or back from the middle of the clip. So this will be useful to kind of get more control of what exactly gets outputted, right? So we'll take a look at that later in the tutorial. Next, I'm setting the clip length. So I want the clip to be 4 seconds long, and our main main function that we'll be working in today is this creating transition between videos, and it's right here. And this code, this has some special code that finds the sequence editor. In my previous video for the video sequence editor in Blender, where we were importing images, I went into a bit more detail about why like how to get this, right? We didn't have this function, so I wrote it in that video, so you can check that out if you're interested. The main idea here is when you're running a script that works with the sequence editor, we need to provide the sequence editor as part of the as one of the parameters that will work on the sequence editor. So it might be a bit abstract and confusing why we need to do that, but if that feels a bit confusing, just know that okay, we have to do this like because Victor said so, basically. But as you get more experience with this, you'll start to understand why and how this all works. So don't worry. Next, we want to clear the sequence editor. So each time we're running our script, we're adding a bunch of videos into the sequence editor, and before we run another iteration of our script, we want to clear the sequence editor so we don't have like videos stacking up on each other, right? And then the clean proxies is something we're going to take a look later in the tutorial, like what that means and why we need to do that. So we'll get to that. And of course, at the very end, if you really wanted to, you can like automate it in a way that it will actually press this render and animate. So this call right here is exactly render and animate, render the animation. So it will generate the animation right for you. All right, now we're ready to get going with our script. And the very first thing that we need to do is we need to get a list of files that we're going to be working with. So we need to get the videos. And to do that, we're going to be importing the OS module. So we're doing this at the very top of the script. I want to show you some stuff in the interactive Python console to see like a better view of like what we're going to be doing like in slow motion, if you will. So I'm gonna just copy this video path right here. So we'll need that. And the OS module has a function called list_dir, and the main idea is it just provides a list of files that contain in this folder. And this is what I want to do with this function call. So I want to provide my the video path, right? And it returns a list of files. So remember at the beginning of the video, I showed you my folder right here. And here are these videos, and this is exactly what we're using here with the OS module and listing the files in this folder. We want to make sure that we only work with the files that we care about. So this folder might have other text files, any other files that your project is working on, right? And we want to kind of filter that out and only work on the videos that we care about. So let's add this code right here. So I have a to do here, and let's start replacing that. So I'm going to be looping through the this right here, so I'm going to use this. And each one of these files that we have here is going to be assigned to this variable, right, the file name. Okay, so now I want to filter out the files, and right now I'm only passing into this function the path to the video, to the folder, and I need to start passing in the list of videos that we want to work with. So I'm going to add another parameter here, and I'm going to scroll back up and add a parameter here, right? So this could be a different name from what we're using at the call site of this function. And I'm gonna create this if statement. So the main idea of this if statement is we're checking that this file, if this name is in this list, then continue. But I want to say no, if it's not, then do something, right? So I'm only going to enter this body of this if statement if this name right here is not in this list of videos. So, and I want to just continue. And this keyword right here just skips the rest of the body of the for loop. So we're going to be only processing videos after this if statement. So the video names that are in this list. So maybe there are other videos in this folder, but we only care about the videos that we've selected. So I'm also going to be renaming the variable. I don't really have to do this, but I just want to make this distinction that it's not just a file name, it's the video that we're going to be processing. All right, next I want to create a full path to this video. And to do that, we'll do this. I'm going to add a comment first. So I'm using a new function that's called OS path and join, and this creates a correct OS path to the folder that we'll be working with. So we need the folder path, right, and we need the file name. So remember that this right here is only the file name; it's not the full path to the file. And so right here we're doing just that, and I misspelled path. And next I'm just printing out to see what video we're processing. You could see the result of this print on Windows if you go to Window and then toggle System Console. And this will pop up a console window. And actually, let's just run this script. And here we go. We are processing these videos, so that you can see there's a full path here. Unfortunately, on Mac and Linux, you don't have this toggle system console. I created a separate video for both those operating systems, how you can get that console and see this result. So unfortunately, you'll need to do a bit of work to get this working. Okay, next we need to start adding the videos that we've just created a full path to into the sequence editor. Let's do just that right here. Let's actually go into the interactive Python console so you can see the documentation string for this command. So we'll be using this command right here, the movie strip add. So it adds a video to the sequencer, and we need to provide a file path right here. We need to provide the directory, and also I don't want to have any sound. So somewhere here in one of these arguments, so by default, we're importing the sound as well, but I don't really need the sound for my particular use case. So I'm going to set this to false. So I'm going to use the file path that we just created right here. I'm going to use the folder path like so. And let's try to run the script. And I said try because this is exactly where we'll need our special sequence editor context. So if you open up the terminal, right, the system console, and you can see that we're the context is incorrect. So we're trying to operate with the sequence editor in the text editor context. So when the script is running, it's in the text editor context, and we need to be in the video editor sequencer context. And this is exactly what we are getting right here. So we need to just provide this as a first parameter, and this should fix the issue. All right, as you can see, it imported the videos, and you can see that they are right here. They're different lengths, right? And we need to cut these down to something that is more manageable. Also, notice at the bottom, there's a building proxies progress bar. And remember, I told you about the clean proxies right here. And this is what is getting generated each time you start working with video in the Blender sequence editor. So if we open up our folder, you can see that there is this BL proxy, which will contain folders and like metadata about the videos that you're editing. And the thing is that we would want to clear this folder each time we create a new sequence, right? So we don't want to, when I was doing this and I wasn't cleaning, I was running into some issues where Blender was treating the videos in a different way. Basically, there was some issues with that, and I found that it's just, if I clean this folder, it'll be like starting off with a clean slate each time. So I decided to just let's just clean this folder each time we run the script. By the way, I forgot to add a OS separator to this path right here. Basically, it looks like this is fixed now, but at a certain point, I think in Blender 3.1, my script started to fail because I wasn't providing the OS separator. So OS separator is like what the slashes that are added in between folder paths. So if you go into the interactive Python console, you can actually see what it is, right? So it's / or / depending on your operating system. And right now, as you can see, it worked for me on 3.2. I don't know which Blender version you're using, so just in case, I'll add this if you're on a version that has this issue. All right, next we need to get the middle of each one of these videos, so the middle frame. And to do that, we're gonna go right here. So we've selected a video, and we're gonna go into time right here. And we need this duration right here. So if we just modify it a bit, and actually if we go into the info panel down here, we will get exactly this variable, this information, right, where we can divide this right here. So if we divide this by 2, I'm going to wrap it in an int. So this is going to give a floating point value, so a decimal point value. So here's what I'm doing. I am getting this value, right? So this is the full duration of the clip that we're working on. I'm dividing it by 2, right? Getting the middle. And this will give a floating point, right? Let's take a look. So it'll give a floating point. There's a decimal point right here. And if I wrap it in an int, it's going to give me a number without a floating point, right? An integer. And we will use this later to start trimming our clips. So let me add the comment. All right, so next I want to move the offset, the starting offset for a particular video clip towards the middle of our clip. So I want to change this parameter right here, right? So I'm changing where the video starts, right? So we're kind of trimming from the start. And right here, as you guessed it, in the info panel, we can see the code that will allow us to do that. And we can actually just use this right away. So let's use that, and let's execute our script. All right, I'm gonna cancel the proxies for now, and let's take a look where the videos are. And you can see that they got trimmed from the beginning, right? So we've trimmed them to the middle, wherever the middle was of that particular clip. In reality, I want to end our clip in the middle, so I would need to subtract from the middle. I would need to subtract the length of a clip that I want, so that's the 4 seconds I was talking about in the beginning. So let's just do that. I'm going to scroll to the bottom, and I'm going to provide the FPS and the clip length. All right, so I'm going to be passing these now to our function right here, right? And I would like to calculate the frame count for our clips. And to do that, we're going to take the length of a clip, right, in seconds, and then multiply it by the FPS to get the number of frames. And with that, we're going to use this right here, and we're going to subtract from the middle of the frame. So this everything is in frames, right? So the middle frame we'll be starting with the middle minus this. So we're going to be starting a bit to the left of the middle of our video. And I'm going to create a variable for this. And I'm going to use this instead of the middle. So the way that we're going to trim it from the beginning is going from the middle, just the clip length that we want. So that's 4 seconds. And our video is gonna end in the middle, right? So let's do just that. Let's run this and make sure it works. And you can see this video clip moved just a bit because it started a bit to the left. So we're starting a bit earlier. Now quit the proxy building. We don't need it for now. Okay, now let's modify the duration. So each one of these clips has a duration, and it's in frames, and we would need to set this to the 4 seconds. So let's just do that and see what the info panel gives us. Here is the parameters, the property that we're going to be setting. So we're going to be using the frame count right here to set the duration. So let's run our script. And now you can see that we have these clips, these 4-second clips of the videos that we've added. I'll quickly add some documentation here with some comments. By the way, I totally forgot that we should have saved, so let's make sure to save our script. Right, I'm gonna go into tutorials and name the script.py. You can name it whatever you feel like, and I'm going to save the project as well. So make sure to do that to save your progress. All right, now we need to move our clips that we created, that we've trimmed, to the beginning where we're going to be rendering. So this is the link. This is the real animation that we are going to be rendering out, right? So we need to move these clips into this region right here. And to do that, we're going to be modifying this start frame value. And we're actually going to be going in the negative direction. So as you can see, as I move this, it's like the frames are going into the negative. So we're going to be moving these like so. So we're going to select each one of these and move them down there. And as you can see in the info panel, we do have already the command that we'll use to go and move these clips into place. And actually we're going to be using the clip start offset frame to assign the location, like the start location. So let's try that out. And I'm going to use the minus here, don't forget that, to move them right into the beginning of our animation right here. So let me add a comment here as well. And let's try and run our script here. Okay, as you can see, we've moved all the clips to the beginning right here. As you can see, we've aligned all of these, so video 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and they're all kind of overlapping, right, just at the beginning. Now we need to figure out how we're going to be modifying the start location of each video. So depending on where the current video ends, the next one will begin. Let's fix that right now. All right, to position our videos right next to each other, right, with an offset, we need to find out what is the last frame. And actually, it's right here. And you can see that this is the end frame. And to get that, we can use the final offset. So I'm just going to copy this. And there's actually an end property here. So as you can see, this is the 120 right here. So if I move this a bit, you can see this is going to be set to 177. So let's check that out. Yeah, this is exactly this. And we will be using that to set the next location. To do that, let's actually add a new variable right here. And this is going to be tracking what's the current kind of starting position. So at the beginning, it's going to be 0, right? We want to start where our sequence starts, our animation. And we're actually going to be subtracting from this. So whatever the start position is, we're going to subtract the length, offset, right, that we calculated right here. Next, we need to calculate on each iteration, we need to get a new value for this. And to do that, we'll need to assign the final frame. Remember, like exactly right here, what we used. So let's do that like so. Let's add a comment. All right, let's run this script. Okay, you can see now that we have our clips right one after another. This is exactly what we wanted. This is great. Let's also update the length of our animation. As you can see, our videos are going past the end of our current animation, and we need to update this right here. So you can see I'm updating this, and this is moving. And right here, you can see the end frame that we're going to be using. I'm going to update this outside of the for loop. So all of this is inside of the for loop body. And we really need to update this only at the very end after we finish adding our last video, right? So I'm going to unindent this by hitting Shift Tab right outside of the for loop. And I am just going to use the final frame for the last video that we would process here. So I'm just going to set that. Not forgetting to add a comment. And let's see how this is going to get updated. So we're going to, after we run it, we should see the final frame set here. So it's going to be automatically updated if we add more or less videos to process. All right, as you can see, it updated. This is exactly what we wanted to do here. The next thing that we want to do here is start adding the transition, the fade in transition. And to do that, let's do that by hand to see the code that is going to get generated for this particular action in the info panel. So I'm going to right click on this and select the fade, and then I'm going to select fade in. And as you can see, if we zoom right into this clip that we selected, there's like this fade in going on right here. Let's forward to here. You can see the video is slightly transparent, right? As we go in, it comes into full transparency. And this is the piece of code that we're going to be using to do this, to fade in. So let's do that. Let's just add this right here like so, just for now. And let's run our script. So let's see here. And you can see that it added the transitions, the fade in transitions for every one of our videos that we're working on. But the problem is that we don't really want to do this at the very beginning. So the very first video clip that we will work on, right at the very start of the video, we don't really want this to be fading in. We want this to be already without any fade in and just the video itself. And we can add some kind of if statement. I'm gonna just base this on the start frame. So this particular start frame position. And since at the very start, when we go through this loop the very first time when it's a video, this will be equal to 0. So I can use that fact and say that if this is not equal to 0, then do a fade in. So we're updating this right here. So as soon as we go through this for loop body once, we are going to see this updated from 0 to whatever value this is. So we can use that and just do this on only the videos that go after the first one. So let's try that out. All right. And as you can see now, we are not fading in the first video, we're only fading in the next one. So this is exactly what we wanted to do. Also, let's not forget to add some comments here. But you can see there's a slight problem here where we don't have a nice transition because the previous clip already ended during this particular transition. And to fix that, let's just move the start of our clip to overlap on the previous video. To do that, let's add a new variable right here. And so this is going to be our clip transition overlap, right? It's going to be in frames, so I'm going to just use 1 for the 1 second. I want to have a 1 second overlap, and then times the FPS. And we're going to use this right here. And we're going to just subtract this from the start frame. And we're only, remember, going to be doing this for every video other than the first one. And to subtract, I can just use this. So this is the same as writing this right here. So whatever, like the new value for the start frame will be equal to this minus this, right? But it's going to take up a lot of space, as you can see. So instead of that, we're going to write the same exact thing with this. And now let's try and run our script and see how that looks. So now after this update for these videos right here, we're going to be overlapping 1 second, and this transition is going to happen right over the previous video. Okay, look at that. So now, as you can see, there is some video transition happening right over the previous video, exactly what we wanted here. And if you're learning something new or just enjoying this video, make sure to give this video a like. I'll greatly appreciate it. Okay, now let's start looking into that control that I was talking about at the beginning of the video. So right now we're just selecting going through these clips, getting the middle of the particular video and just trimming from there. But what if we want to control where exactly that clip is going to be? Maybe just a couple of seconds before or after the middle of our video. So this exactly right here, we're going to be starting to use this. So let's check out the very first video right here. And you can see that, let's just say I don't like that I'm like looking down right here in this particular clip. And let's see where I'm not. So let me open that video. So here's the video itself. All right, here we go. So we're probably somewhere here in the middle. Yeah, I'm looking down and selecting this right here. So this is like the middle of the clip. And let's just say about here, let's say like 16 seconds before this, so minus 16 seconds, I should be probably looking at the camera. So let's check that out. So this is the first video. So I'm gonna remove this. And this is gonna be like minus 16. And let's pass this in as a parameter. I'm gonna go and pass this in right here. And let's go and add that as a parameter to this function. So right, we're calling it there, and here's the definition of the function. So that's the offset. And let's use this in the middle of our loop, right? We're processing, we're adding the video, and let's add it somewhere here. So let's add it after the mid frame. So if this offset get, so it's a dictionary, and we can call a get method. It will return either the value. So the value is going to be the offset, right? The get for this will return this, right? If we're going to try to get like the video 2, it will return none, so nothing in the Python world. So we're going to use this result to calculate the middle of our clip. All right, let's update that. So we are going to be using the video name. So we're going to, if this video name is in our offset dictionary, then use it. So if this is none, this will automatically transfer to false, so we won't go inside of this if statement into this block. But if it is in this dictionary, then we're going to apply that. And let's just add this to the middle. So plus, again, I'm just using whatever is in this value, add this particular thing, right? Of course, this is plus and this is going to be minus. It doesn't really matter. It's just going to work because we're adding a negative number. So it's going to be like subtraction. Let's add a comment. All right. So now let's make sure. So remember, I'm looking down at the very start. Let's check this out if I run the script. All right. I'm going to kill the building proxies. And you can see, look at that. I have modified the location of where we start our current clip. So you can use that to kind of move forward and back exactly where you want this clip to be. Okay, and now let's do some final touches and organize our code just a bit better. The first thing that comes to mind is we can just move this right here, the trimming of the video, into a separate function. So let's just do that. So I'm going to cut out that code and replace it with a function call. So I'm going to name it trim the video. Just go above this function, paste in the code. Select this. This is over indented. There's like 2 indentations. I'm just going to select this and hit Shift Tab to reduce the indentation. And we will be passing in the clip start offset right here and this. So let's copy that and add it right here. And let's make sure to rerun this. All right, so the proxies started to generate, so that means the script finished working. I'm going to cancel that. So, okay, our script still works after this refactoring. Okay, next, this is a pretty kind of convoluted statement right here. We're just moving the clip, as you can see from our comment. I'm actually just going to use the comment for a lack of a better name for this. I'm just going to add some underscores here, and this will be our function. So I'm just going to copy this, delete this right here, and I'm going to go above this function. So define another one. like so. Reduce the indentation. All right, so now we have this function, kind of self-documenting. You don't really need to add a documentation string here because like the name really says it all. Let's see here. Okay, that's there. Let's run our script. And of course, I totally forgot to pass in these parameters. Let's do that. Let's not forget to pass in parameters into our functions. Right here. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, now it works as expected. And let's add a function right here. Okay, I'm going to replace these right here. I'm going to go up. Okay, this is going to be a definition of a function. Again, don't forget to pass in the arguments that we need here. Let's go back. So we're passing in this right here. And let's try to run this again. All right, we're building proxies, means that we finished running this script. Okay, let's check out the final result and hit the render animation right here. And this is going to continue. I'm going to fast forward this part for you. Okay, now let's check out the final result. So right here, you can see the video that we generated. Let's take a look. And you can see that the video is going forward. There's no sound and there's like transitions happening between all the clips, and everything was done with Python, right? We stitched together these, trimmed and stitched together these videos, as you can see on screen. Okay, this is all that I wanted to share with you today. Hopefully you can use this script or a modification of the script in your own projects. Also, I hope that this showed how you can use Python and the video sequence editor in Blender. So make sure to check out my other video about importing images. Also might be useful in your own projects to automate some of the things that are repetitive. Okay, for more videos like this, make sure to subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.